Hey, this is Dr. Buzz with Buckeye Physical Medicine and Rehab. BuckeyePMR.com is the website. Today I'm here with Mike. What's up, Mike?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm super excited because we've kind of had a lot of media things going on lately, and like the show is always the big culmination.
Yes, yes. So we're going to talk today about hormones, stem cells, ED. I know you've been struggling with
Well,
that.
that's close.
Well, not really,
That's
but-
close to my heart.
Yeah, and just some other cool stuff. So we're going to cut the break and we'll be right back.
We can just pause. So he'll see there's a break there, and then you can start up again.
Hey, this is Dr. Buzz with Buckeye Physical Medicine and Rehab. BuckeyePMR.com is the website. Check it out. But here with Mike today. What's up, Mike?
I'm doing good, buddy, and I'm always excited to be on this show.
So I want to talk a little bit today about hormones. I know we talk about it quite a bit on the show, but I want people to realize that hormone levels are going down as a society, and this is proven. You know, and the FDA said that it has estimated that testosterone levels are 25% lower now than they were in the 80s. You know, you might be saying, well, how's that possible? But there's lots of environmental factors that cause people to have hormonal issues, and I want to talk about those a little bit today. So, and the reason this is important is I think a lot of people will sit back and think, well, my parents weren't low T or my grandfather was low T. Why would I be low T? Well, society and your environment has changed.
Well, also the reason that you wouldn't know if they're low T is people weren't testing for it.
Yeah, I mean,
when you saw your grandfather and he weighed 170 pounds, but 50 pounds of it was in his gut and he didn't move very fast, those are symptoms of low T. It just wasn't really something that you pushed really hard to test.
well, there was really no treatment options.
Right.
If you think about this, and really what you, that sounds bad, what you can thank for it is, remember, we always talk about, you can't patent bioidenticals. You can't patent bioidentical testosterone or bioidentical estrogen, and that's what we prescribe at Buckeye. And the reason that's important is you can't patent what's naturally occurring in the body. So there was never a big push for people to be on hormones because there was never any money because Big Pharma couldn't make money because you couldn't patent it.
Right.
So what they did figure out, though, is they were able to patent a delivery method, which was testosterone gels. So if you look back, I don't know when did testosterone gels come out? Maybe 5-6 years ago. I don't even know.
Well, it was really heavy, I think, in the the early 2000s, because that's when you saw every person you've ever seen on television or anybody that ever played ball. All of a sudden, that was their solution, was testosterone gel, and a lot of it was, especially in Major League Baseball, you had the androstenedione and all that. Mm-hmm. To not get caught doing that, it was just, I'm just rubbing this on myself.
Yeah.
To mask the fact that they were taking something else, but that's what was boosting my testosterone. You still see it today.
Yeah.
I just saw the
sure.
Bo Jackson commercial we talk about a lot, and Frank Thomas. All they're doing is just eating protein bars and eating a certain diet, and no injectables, nothing like that.
Yeah, I don't buy that. But what happened is Big Pharma figured out a way that they could actually make money with hormones. And what they figured out is you couldn't patent the bioidentical, but they figured out the delivery method, which was a cream or gel. You could patent the delivery method. So all of a sudden, you know, low testosterone, which people have been suffering with for a long time, while it's getting worse with time, there was big money, so you started seeing commercials for it. Kind of like Viagra, if you think about it. Like Viagra, when did that come out? You never heard of me in ED. That's not like a cool thing to talk about. But they patented this new medication for Viagra, and all of a sudden, Viagra ads were all over TV, and all of a sudden,
I think it was around '98, because I remember they did a deal. There was more than one company. Viagra was the first big one.
Viagra, then Cialis, and
because I remember Mike Ditka being on a commercial, and I thought, this guy will do not
Yeah,
only
they had to pay
soup, he'll be on
big
anything.
bucks. Yeah, they did.
But I mean, you had the Cialis and Viagra kind of fighting it out to get to the consumer. And but again, you've said this before, low testosterone and ED, they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But it's not like that pill is for erectile dysfunction. It doesn't cure your low testosterone.
No, yeah, we should talk about that a little bit. You know, we got off. I wasn't planning on going there, but we'll go there. So, but basically, what happens? The way Viagra and Cialis work is blood vessel dilation is what causes erections. You know, basically blood vessels opening up. And you know what they figured out in 1998, which is relatively not that long ago in science terms, is scientists discovered this thing called nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is released by your blood vessels, and it opens blood vessels up. So they won the Nobel Prize in Medicine for this, by the way, so it's kind of cool. But what they realized is the body, when it needed to open blood vessels up, your body secretes this thing called nitric oxide. It opens blood vessels up, and that's what causes erections. What happens to people, though, over time, in particular as they get older, is their body produces less nitric oxide. And when you produce nitric oxide, obviously erections And the same thing works for females in their orgasms. The clitoris or the penis don't get hard because of the blood vessels don't open up. And the other problem you have with that is that's a microcosm. If that happens, then that means the blood vessels in the rest of your body open up, which can cause high blood pressure and lots of other problems. So the way Viagra and Cialis work is it prevents your body from reabsorbing the nitric oxide, the little bit that you produce, and thus you have your erection or your female orgasm.
But it's also masking the fact that
it doesn't cause you to produce more nitric oxide. It just slows the reabsorption, but it doesn't fix the problem.
But people are again putting a Band-Aid on a bigger problem just to get through that time period. So again, it is all relative. It all goes around. But when you see these medications on television, or you get those pamphlets in the mail, and you just look at this and you're like, the telltale sign would be to get your blood work done to know what's really going on with your body. And if you have low testosterone, this is one piece of it, but this should be your indicator light, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. If someone has erectile dysfunction, that's a really poor indicator of health. Because if the blood vessels in your penis aren't working, that means they're not working everywhere else in your body. And that means most likely to have high blood pressure, more likely to have heart disease, more likely to have stroke. So people that have erectile dysfunction need to understand that their blood vessel health is not good. And the way you make your blood vessel health better is by taking hormones, because that preserves your blood vessel health. Okay, it slows that aging process down, and people don't realize this. So, and taking Viagra or Cialis, that's a short term. It helps manage the symptom, but it does nothing for blood vessel health. Nothing. So a better way to approach it than the way we approach it at Buckeye is number one, we test your nitric oxide levels, and that's a saliva test, not a blood test, but we do it in the office. And obviously, if you do the saliva test and your body's not producing nitric oxide at the rate it's supposed to be, then number one, we want to look at your hormones, because you want to slow that aging process down your blood vessels. But there's also nitric oxide supplements that you can take that'll have your body produce more nitric oxide, which will help with your ED or female orgasms. But more important than that is overall blood vessel health. Anyone who suffers with high blood pressure, test their nitric oxide levels. High blood pressure is usually caused because your blood vessels don't open up properly. Increases the pressure, right? So if you're nitric oxide deficient and you fix that deficiency, all of a sudden your blood pressure drops without taking blood pressure medication.
Right.
So so the way we look at things is instead of trying to mask the symptom or treat the symptom, someone has pain, take a cortisone shot. Cortisone doesn't fix anything; it masks the symptom. Look back. What actually causes the problem? So you're lacking energy. You're not sleeping properly. Is it because you have a lack of sleeping pills?
Right.
No.
Well, it affects your mood. It affects your ability to work out or just enjoy things. Or I find the biggest thing when you look at people that have low testosterone is it's so hard to get them from A to B because they're not looking forward to it. But if you watch television, there's always a medication that'll get you, up and running again. But these are all things, again, that are just masking the overall symptom of low testosterone.
Yeah. And the reasons testosterone is lower is, I would say number one is stress. I can tell you a lot of people, if you work a third shift job and you have the third shift people usually take 4-hour naps during the day, that doesn't cut it. That messes up your endocrine system. Some other things that really affect testosterone is the BPAs. The BPAs are what's in our plastics. I mean, I see you're drinking Starbucks. I don't know if there's BPA. I'm drinking this water here. There might be BPA in this. I don't know.
Well, I've heard that the bottles contain so no matter what plastic you have, you're still exposed to it no matter what.
And this is fact. It affects hormones. Mm-hmm. So and even if you say, well, I generally drink out of metal containers, the food you buy or you go out to eat, that stuff's all packaged in plastics and stuff. So you really can't afford it unless you live on a farm, right?
You can produce it yourself.
Yeah. But that's not realistic for most people.
Right.
So as a society, we're all subject to these BPAs and these toxins in the plastic.
Well, the good news is Starbucks is going to get rid of these plastic straws in a few years, so we're going to cut down on our BPA. You can still go. Yeah, I mean that's all it is. It's all straws.
Alcohol and beer are another big thing that affects hormone levels. So if you drink a lot of alcohol, I know a lot of people drink wine every night and all this stuff. That stuff really affects hormone levels in males and females.
How about food? I know that you have medical weight loss at the clinic, but food has a lot to do with that too, right? If you're just eating garbage in, you're getting garbage out, right? So,
yeah, in particular the fats you're eating. You want to avoid bad fats. And being obese in general is a metabolic event. If you're overweight, you're going to produce more estrogen, which causes you to be even more overweight. So it's like a compounding thing.
Right.
So if you're overweight, and the sad thing is the majority of Americans are obese, right? That's crazy, right? The body fat itself is a metabolic organ that causes high estrogen. So all these factors cause us to, over time, hormone levels are going down. As I said, 25% down since 1980. So that's why there's no age when you should get your hormones checked. You really go by the symptoms. So if you don't have energy, no drive, you're getting injured all the time, have lots of inflammation in your body, don't sleep, fall asleep and wake up or have a hard time falling asleep. These are all telltale signs. Hey man, get your hormones checked out. And very important. And the cool thing is it's really simple. You come to the office. Most insurance covers your blood work. It's a simple test, and if it's messed up, we fix it. If not, we leave it alone.
Can you address the fact that a lot of people will say, my doctor says everything's fine, my heart rate's good, pulse is good, everything.
Oh, they'll say my blood work. I have my blood work. I mean, I hear it all the time. I have my blood work, and my blood work's fine. And I always say, well, cool, let me see it. And usually, number one is a standard physical. They don't test your hormone levels. It's not part of a standard physical, okay? You could request it. And if you request it, what I typically see clinically is the physicians are checking what they call serum testosterone. Serum testosterone is not an accurate representation of your testosterone levels. The serum is just what's circulating in your blood serum. Has nothing to do with what's available at the cellular level. So really, what you need to know is your free testosterone level. And that number is a number between typically 5 and 25. So when people call and say, well, my doctor said my testosterone is fine, it's 200, 300, 400, 500, that's the wrong number. It's just the wrong number. We're not even on the same planet here. That's why it's really important that if you want to do anti-aging and you want to do this properly, you go to see someone who specializes in this. I often say, if you were going to have open heart surgery, you wouldn't come see me because I don't specialize in it, right? But if you want to do anti-aging, I'm your guy.
But also, I think you should point out, you're not picking on physicians. You're just saying
not at all.
That's not what they do. And the difference in when you're doing anti-aging or bioidenticals is when you come to Buckeye or anywhere across the country that does this, that's what they specialize in. So there is a treatment plan where you're going to spend more time with that patient than a regular doc can.
There's a lot of case management. I mean, there's a lot of follow-up blood works. There's more to it. A regular medical practice is not set up to manage a hormone patient. It's just unable to.
And it doesn't make them money, so they're not going to push their practice that way.
No.
They have to see X amount of people, but they still have to generate revenue. When you're doing bioidenticals, you're not making a lot of money to do that.
There's little to no money, because you get a picture, a traditional medical office, your primary care, when you go to the office, they get paid this thing called the E&M code. So basically you come in there and it's evaluation and management. They get paid for that code, but there's no other, that's just the way they're set up. They're not paid to manage a case and to do the extra stuff that's they're required to do it properly. And I have people all the time that say, I see my regular doctor, I go there every other week or once a month for a testosterone shot. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't work that way. This is something, if you're going to do injectables, you got to do injection once a week. You got to get blood works done every 20 weeks. You got to check your hemoglobin, hematocrit. There's a high level of management to do this properly. And I often say, there's no side effects to bioidentical hormones. The hormones used are completely safe. But you can overdose and you can underdose.
Right.
And if you're not getting your blood work done regularly and have someone manage your case who's had high level education trained on this, it's a crapshoot.
And there's only 2 people in Ohio that are diplomate certified, right?
Myself and Dr. Baden both have our diplomates in anti-aging, and that's like the highest level of training you can have in this stuff. And all the staff is trained on this also. And this is what we do. So when you come to Buckeye, you'll see a coach or someone that, And I also tell you, the staff there all have done the product.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not
you have a bunch of people that are experts on it, because it doesn't matter who you talk to. If they're wearing the black smock there, they know what's going on. Or Travis, you'll have a hard time getting away from him, but he'll tell you everything about it.
Right. So but we practice what we preach there, and bioidentical hormone replacement therapy is 100% safe. You'll never find a study that says it's unsafe. And the largest study to date, they did a study, the VA did a study where they followed 83,000 people for 15 years. So it's a huge population group, long period of time. And what they did with this is half of the 83,000 people that had hormone problems they didn't treat, and the other half they did treat. And they followed this group for 15 years. And what they found at the end of 15 years is those on bioidentical hormones, just like we do at Buckeye, we're 56% likely to die of all-cause mortality. Cancer, heart disease, stroke. You might say, well, how's that possible? Well, it's logical. You're reversing aging. And hormones are how your cells communicate. That's what hormones are. Your endocrine system, your testosterone, your estrogen, progesterone is how your body and how your cells communicate with each other. So if you had a team of Navy SEALs and you put them into combat, these guys are badasses, right? If they weren't allowed to communicate or do hand signals or anything, how effective would they be in combat?
Oh, they'd be terrible.
It wouldn't work out.
Yeah, they would get nothing done systemically.
The same thing goes with hormones. If you don't have hormones, your cells can't communicate. And what are your symptoms? You start breaking down. Your knee pain doesn't go away. Your back hurts when you wake up in the morning. You're tired all the time. You don't have energy. Your libido's low. You're not mentally sharp, and the mental sharpness is brain inflammation, right? And more likely to get Alzheimer's disease. Like all these different conditions. That's what aging is. Aging is your body's running out of stem cells and you're running out of hormones. That's why you age.
One of the cool things that you said before that has to do with your whole system was when you said, and I had never put the two together, like young men, like children, do not get prostate cancer, but as you get older, this is one of the things that kind of staves that off or can help it go away.
100%. Yeah, I've had people come in and say, well, listen, I'm just worried, I have a family history of prostate cancer, and does the bioidentical testosterone use cause prostate cancer? The answer is no. In the anecdotal proof of that is if testosterone caused prostate cancer, every teenage boy in America would have prostate cancer. When's the last time you've heard of a teenage boy having prostate cancer?
Zero.
Because it doesn't cause it.
Right.
No.
But that's where I think the education part comes in, is that, when I had somebody in my family that had it and was listening to the show just because they knew I was involved and we know each other. And when I was trying to explain, their thought process was, if you take testosterone, it makes it bigger, it makes it worse. Because they're thinking of the overenlarged hearts, all the reports you hear about abuse of these substances.
Right.
So I think that's where that comes in, where people need to understand this is reversing. This is not enlarging, it is reversing an issue.
Yeah, and we do we do bioidentical supplementation. So what that basically means is we know males and females, if they're healthy, are healthiest when they're about 25 to 30 years of age. So, and the reason you're healthy at that age is that's because your hormones are optimized. Your cells can communicate properly. That's where you want to be. So what anti-aging is making your body as close to a 25 or 30-year-old as possible. And you do that with hormones. And
you can stay in that range because you keep getting your blood work, so you need to know where you have to be.
100%. And it's almost unfair if you think about it. But there's no reason you can't be in your lifetime. I mean, we had a guy on here last week, I think. He was 50 years old, was in his lifetime best shape. There's no reason you can't be into your 50s, even 60s, and be in better shape than when you were in your 20s.
Well, look at Florida. Florida's your prime example. All those snowbirds that went down there, they're living longer and they look amazing. When you see those Sandals Resorts ads that are people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, they look better than people that are in their 30s in Ohio. It's not just because of the weather. It's because that's where a lot of this started. This anti-aging started down there.
Mm-hmm. There in the West Coast, I mean, things like, for some reason in the U.S., things go from the West Coast to East Coast. I don't know why, but yeah, I agree with you. And at the end of the day, everyone has to make a decision. Hey, I'm going to just get old and age out, and I'm fine with having aches and pains in my back hurting and not be able to, work out anymore and sleeping terrible every night. And a lot of times, people, when they do that, they start drinking and doing other stuff because they're just miserable, right? Or, heck with that, I'm going to fight this and I want to stay young and feel great as long as I can. And that's what anti-aging is.
It seems to me you'll find more people that are compounding the problem. I'm not sleeping well. I'm not going to go to the gym.
So they take a sleeping pill.
Right.
I can't sleep, so let's take a sleeping pill.
Right. So I'm going to cope with this way, but then I'm lethargic, so I don't go work out. I don't work out, so then I'm going to go to bed early, but I'm going to eat junk, so then I'm going to stay up later. And
or feel terrible, so I'm going to drink a bottle of wine before I go to bed because
right.
I'm not happy with life.
Well, your best example that you've ever said to me was Starbucks. Your office is right across from a Starbucks, and that thing looks like the gas line shortages in the 70s. I mean, it is wrapped around that parking lot, but it's never slow. Meanwhile, across the street, the things that they're trying to address with caffeine and every other pill or wine can be solved by bioidenticals.
100%. 100%. Because people get in this thing, so you don't sleep at nighttime because your hormones are messed up. You have low growth hormone or low testosterone. So you sleep terrible, so you wake up, so you need coffee to get rolling in the daytime. And then you get up, you have your coffee, but you're too tired to work out, so you don't exercise anymore. And then, come lunchtime, the Starbucks is packed at lunchtime. They crash at lunchtime again. And if you're not working out, why eat healthy? What the hell's the point? So I'm just going to eat garbage.
I'll work out tomorrow, but I'm going to eat this burger right now.
Yeah, so, and that's why people's health goes down. That's why health is a mess. People's health is a mess. Type 2 diabetes is through the roof. Obesity is through the roof. And these are all problems that are getting worse, not better. And hormone deficiency is completely treatable and reversible. And there's no reason someone can't feel like they're 25 to 30 until the day they're gone. No reason.
You should also touch on stem cell today. I got you kind of off track when we went down the ED and over-the-counter medication, but stem cell is something that Buckeye really is thriving with right now.
Yeah, that's something that we've done more of the stem cell allograft procedures than anyone in the Eastern United States. We've done over 1,000 procedures at this point. Myself and Dr. Sophia Bannon are the only physicians in the state who have fellowship training in stem cells, which is the highest level of education available. Unfortunately, doctors don't have to be trained in stem cells to do stem cells. So there's people around that are doing stem cells that have zero training other than some rep coming in and saying, put this in or do this or that. And if you don't follow a protocol of stem cells and you just put stem cells in, it doesn't work out. You have to make the body a healthy host first, and you do that with hormones. And we also have to make sure that where we're putting these stem cells have proper circulation, because stem cells need to have oxygen and hormones to do their job. So if you put stem cells into someone who's 50, 60, 70 years old and they have no hormones, they're not going to work. You're wasting your money. Don't do it. If you put stem cells into someone, same thing, 50, 60, 70 years old, and they don't have good circulation to the joint, they're not going to work. There's no oxygen there. And the way we address those is we use ozone injections. And ozone, everyone knows hyperbaric. Everyone's heard of a hyperbaric chamber, and they know it's kind of good for you, but you don't know why. But the reason hyperbaric is good for you is it forces oxygen into your body, and we know forcing oxygen helps the body heal better. Well, a better way to get oxygen to a joint is by doing an ozone injection, and that forces ozone, which is infinitely stronger than oxygen, into the joint, and gets your own stem cells or stem cells we put into the joint to actually do their job. It's mandatory. You have to do this. If you don't put that with stem cells don't work, and we know better than anyone. And the other thing you want to do is check the hormones, and we also use shockwave therapy and laser therapy. And what shockwave therapy is, it's a high-pressure sound wave that basically opens up blood vessels. Not ultrasound. I don't want you to confuse it for that. It's much, much stronger than that. But it basically opens up blood vessels in joints, gets circulation there, so stem cells have circulation. And we also have a medical laser. And the easiest way to explain the laser is, we all know plant lights work, right? If you're at a plant lake when you want flowers or something, I don't know. But the reason plant lights work is because it transmits at a wavelength that causes the cellular metabolism of plants to speed up, thus they grow faster. We're not plants, so plant lights won't work on us, unfortunately. But a medical laser, like the one we use at Buckeye, transmit at the wavelength that causes our cells' metabolism to speed up, thus increasing cellular healing. So it's a combination of using the proper stem cells, using ozone to get oxygen there, and medical laser and shockwave to ensure circulation is what gets these processes to work. And when you do all these things along with hormones, you have a person 60, 70, 80. We've had patients in our 90s that heal like they're in their 20s.
But the key is that you're saying is they're healing. Mm-hmm. So your treatment plan is to heal, not to just get you by.
Yeah, I mean, taking... whether you're taking NSAIDs, which are, Aleve, Tylenol, cortisone injections, or corticosteroids, muscle relaxers, none of that stuff heals anything. So you're simply masking what's going on. So,
and you're wearing it down also, right? So if you're taking a cortisone shot, you're getting through that pain, but
cortisone's bad stuff. Each cortisone injection causes up to 8% bone loss. That's why you're only allowed to get 3 per joint per year. Any more than that, if a doctor would give you 4, it'd be medical malpractice because of the amount of damage it causes to the joint. Right. So if you do the math on that, so you do 3 cortisone injections per year, 8 plus 8 plus 8, that's 24% bone loss.
You'll walk around looking like Earl Campbell.
Yeah. Well, that's why all those guys,
But see, that was back in the days when those guys, when I was younger, you look at these guys and you're like, oh, they're heroes because they're limping around, they're staying out there. Yeah, because they got a cortisone injection, so they can't really feel it, but they're going to pay for it down the line.
And they did.
Right. But this is to avoid that. Not that everybody's going to be an NFL running back, but if you're having those kind of issues, you're losing bone density in this training.
100%. 100%. And And whether it's NSAIDs, cortisone, muscle relaxers, or even opioids, which we know those are bad, none of those heal anything, and if anything, they make the condition worse. And all they do is mask what's going on. So if you're going to work and your check oil light comes on in your car, it's a warning something's wrong. That's what pain is in your body. Hey, something's wrong. Don't do it. Get it fixed. Well, when you take these medications, cortisone, muscle relaxers, NSAIDs, it's like putting duct tape over the check oil light. Hell with it. I'm not going to deal with it. Let's just mask this up and keep going. Well, if you wouldn't do it to your car, why would you do it to your body?
Right.
So, at Buckeye, we just don't treat pain that way. When you come to the office, we're a complete physical medicine facility. We have medical providers, physical therapists, chiropractors, massage therapists, and we look at you as a group. And we have a team meeting on every new patient, where the medical provider, the physical therapist, the chiropractor, they sit down and say, okay, here's Joe Smith. This is what's going on. Medical, what would you do? Chiropractor, what you would do? PT, what would you do? And that three-head approach is much better than one. And whether it's stem cells, whether it's physical therapy, whether it's chiropractic, whether it's hormones, and sometimes it's all of the above, what's it going to take to actually get this person healed?
But it's nice to know that there's more than one person that's reviewing your case and keeps checking in on it. So, again, there's
more tools in the toolbox.
Yeah, and there's again, it's nothing against a regular physician. It is that guy or girl has one job to do, and once you're gone, they've kind of checked you out and they've kind of moved you down the line into a folder. This is repetitive. You need to reorder your medication. You need your blood work done. Here's where you are. Here, that's what I think is nice, is that there is a very team approach to your individual care.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%. We treated over 30,000 people last year, and we prescribed no opioids because opioids don't fix anything, right? So so if you're suffering with pain, and when I say pain, anything, if you had pain anywhere in your body for more than 3 months, it's not going to get better. That's now defined. Pain for longer than 3 months in anything is considered chronic pain. If you've had pain for longer than 3 months, you got a problem. And if it's in a joint, that you also means you have degenerative joint disease at that point. The chronic inflammation will lead the joint to breaking down. You got to make a choice. Do you want to mask it and eventually replace it and have surgery, or do you want to try to fix it?
Right.
And that's why, if you mention the radio show, you can come in. We don't charge anyone for a consultation to sit down and see if you qualify for care. We only accept patients we know we can help. So definitely check out the website, BuckeyePMR.com. For your hormone, stem cells, or any other needs if you're in pain, we want to help.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Until next time.
We're pros at this, Dougie. Come on.